and welcome to this week's midweek. The ongoing thing of doing them once in a while, and yet they're weekly. But I got some box sets, and one of these I had last year. I've had it for like 3 months. I just haven't got around to showing it. But now I got another box set in a multi-album kind of a box, so I can show them. So it isn't just like showing one. And I hate to do it on the Sunday show because it takes long. Not that going long is a big deal for me. Yanni just showed this, and I bought this. I've had it for a while. I just haven't got around to showing it. And this is the Fela Kuti box set. This is box set number 5. I have 4, and otherwise I didn't know about them. 1, 2, and 3 now cost you buku bucks. Pretty nice. Look at the albums on here. So let's walk through this thing. This was done by Chris Martin and Fela Kuti. Femi, probably saying it wrong. It's okay. He was Fela's son. Chris Martin, why Chris Martin? Seems odd. And I believe it was 2006. They were doing, Brian Eno was with them, and they were doing the album Viva da, what was that album called? I got it written down here. Viva Las Vegas. No, Viva La Vida. Viva La Vida. Viva La Vida. Okay, sorry. And there, Eno goes, you know what? I want you to listen to Fela Kuti. They didn't know anything about it, Coldplay. So this was new to Coldplay. So they listened to him. They go, wow, okay. It opened their eyes and ears up to something new. Then Eno said, okay, Chris, I want you to leave for 2 weeks. I don't want you around here. And I want the band just to play. That way there's no guy bossing them around. They're just doing their own thing. And they've been listening to Kuti. So he comes back and he's just, wow, this is pretty cool. They'd made these different grooves and different stuff. And it just kind of inspired them. So that's a Brian Eno thing. It comes with this box set, a poster. Here we go. Super nice. You know, in the old days, we used to put those on the walls. Now we just fold them up very carefully and put them back in the box. It has a very nice book. Going through the albums. There's Fema. Oh. And Chris Martin with Fela Kuti. And then it goes through each album. There is a, it opens up and just goes through. They have the lyrics on one side and something about the album on the other side. Maybe why it was chosen, what the album's about. To give you a little backstory about it. There's a nice live picture of the band. Look how big the band's. It was just huge. You kept adding people to it, to get more and more sound. It was just fantastic music. I really am a huge fan of Fela Kuti. Okay, so that's the book. So the albums. The first one was Why Black Men Dey Suffer. Why Black Men Dey Suffer. This came out in 1971. Obviously, if you listen, the title just tells you what it's about. What makes this interesting is Ginger Baker is playing on this, as you see, with Ginger Baker. So in 71, this is one of their very first albums that they're putting out within the first 1 or 2 albums. They redo kind of the label, give you a relook of what the label looked like. So that's the first one. Then their next one, this was from 75. We have Noise for Vendor Mouth. Noise for Vendor Mouth. And we have some boobs on there. The label. Really neat. I like how they've redone that. This is, if you listen to this, the horns are unbelievable. James Brown, look out. They're going to kick your ass. they are so tight, so in tune. Fela, of course, was a sax player, and a lot of times he'll be soloing. Now, on these albums, generally there is one song per side. That's just how they did it. And he put out hundreds of albums. So, 1975. Some of these I have no date on when they actually came out. So this is Fela Kuti Show. The Fela Kuti Show. Now, look at the drawing, the painting. Kind of tells you, notice all the police. In 1974, the police raided his compound for the very first time. This is the story about the raid of his compound. The big raid happened in 1977. After this raid, after the raid in 74, he put up walls, he put up barbed wire. But, Nigeria was so upset, it's just, they couldn't arrest him. It's, because it would make such an outrage. So they just tried to intimidate him, to scare him, and it didn't matter. His albums were political. And every time he came out with one, he poked his finger right at the government. Says, listen, here's what they're doing. This is bull crap. Then we have Fela again, Excuso. This was also 1975. What makes this album different is it is not political. It's lighthearted. He even kind of makes fun of, he goes, Mr. Grammaticology. Listalism is, look at that. Listalism is the boss. Making fun on pronunciation. Excuse is on side one. Again, just kind of having fun. And it was absolutely rare for him to have a non-political album. But there's one of them. We have this. And here we have Ike's Blindness. This came out in 76. You notice here, he crossed out his middle name and put in Aniquilapo. He said, this is a slave name. This is the name he now chooses. Looking at the photo, you know what we're talking about. It's going to be, this one really dealt with inequality. And what's, the inequality of the people within Nigeria, within Africa, with the blacks and the whites, but not just the whites. A lot of blacks also were getting very rich off everyone. The few were getting rich off the many. Great stuff. These all just so many horns, such a funky beat, and it's just the groove. And that's what, Kuti was about. You built this groove, this hypnotic groove. It keeps going and going, and then they come in, and it's the sing-song lyrics. He sings, the background singers then repeat it, and going, and they just keep it going, the rhythm. We had Original Sufferhead. This came out in 1981. This is the first album that used his now revamped band on Egypt 80. Picture there. There he is with his sax, his lovely sax. You may not believe this, but it deals with poverty, again, inequality, government's failure to do anything about it. The artwork on these, it's just, you can just see, we're pissed off, we're mad, what's going on. Wonderful first album by Africa 80. The final album is Overtake, Don, Overtake. This came out in 1997. And when I say final album, I'm not kidding. This is the last album that he ever made. And it's just about, again, social issues, about the problems that's going on, and things are not being done to fix it. He's getting fairly old now. Again, the final, and he passed away after this. This is more polished. It is a different sound. You could tell. It's just definitely much more polished kind of feel to it. It's different. It's not. It doesn't have the same power as the first. It's not bad, but the 70s stuff is really, really amazing. So the next box set I saw this. Amazon had this on sale. It was funny. I was listening to Rachel's live stream, and she began talking about this. And I had just gotten that in the day before, or maybe the week before I'd gotten it. And so I was like, hey, I know what you're talking about. I have that. And it is the, hold on. You know, I should show you what it is, huh? Lou Reed. And this is Lou Reed, the RCA and Artist of Vinyl Collection, Volume 1. Volume 1. So we have more of this stuff coming. That was came in on the back. And so on here we have Transformer from 72, Berlin from 73, Rock and Roll Animal Alive from 74, Coney Island Baby in 75, Street Hassle 78, and The Blue Mask in 82. I just had shown this in my 1972 albums. Transformer really was amazing. David Bowie comes in, starts to help him, and he begins to go glam. You know, gets his hair all blonde and that. But just had so many great things on here. We have Vicious, Perfect Day, Walk on the Wild Side, Satellite of Love, which really is a beautiful, beautiful song. Satellite of Love. You know, that's one it sticks in your brain. So that one came out in 1972. Then we had, not that one, Berlin. Berlin's a little more complicated, a little different. Him and Iggy were spending time in Berlin. I'm not sure if that was during this time. Is that when they were doing it? This has, look at that. It actually has a nice little insert with it. Experimenting a little bit more on here. The music is definitely not the same as what you've heard in Transformer. It's not a bad album. For some, it's their favorite Lou Reed album. I can't say it's mine, but still good stuff from Lou. Then in 1974, we have Rock and Roll Animal. This is a heck of a live album. It has a nice mixture of some of his Velvet Underground material along with his stuff. Nothing extra in there. So we have Sweet Jane, Heroin, White Light, White Heat, Lady Day, Rock and Roll are performed on here. Actually, it's basically his Velvet Underground stuff. So great stuff. From Rock and Roll Animal. Really, I love that. I used to have that one and Transformer. Then Coney Island Baby. This is a great Lou Reed album too. It is highly it's respected. Again, Lou Reed isn't for everyone. Some people can't stand the guy, and it could be personal because he wasn't a nice, easy guy. You know, he just had his own ways and his own thoughts. But for me, I think he made some great stuff. This one, again, not my favorite Lou Reed album. It is one I might not have, again, with a limited collection bought, but was very happy to get it in this box set. That was the thing. I was trying to think, okay, I'd like to get some of these Lou Reed albums, but then this box set came out. Talk about an easy way of doing it. Street Hassle. So this one came out in 78. What makes Street Hassle very interesting is comes out after the punk explosion. And suddenly, Lou Reed had always been the street poet. Now we got the punk explosion. Lou Reed he's been like the godfather of it, but how does he respond? It's not a punk album, but it's stripped down. He doesn't have as much going on. And so it offers a really great listen as he's been listening to all this punk and how they're saying, Velvet Underground, Velvet Underground. And kind of a little bit of a response, but don't expect a big punk album. Then in 82, he came out with Blue Mask. An absolute classic of an album. The interesting part about Blue Mask is this is the album he made after getting off drugs. Lou Reed is notorious for his drug addiction, as anybody would know. And he finally cleaned himself up, and he put out Blue Mask. And if you think back to the songs from the Velvet Underground, Loaded, he's gotten back to it. He's writing songs that are catchy, that are interesting, and it's an album that is worth exploring. This is one that I really wanted back in. So those are the albums that come in it. It does come with a nice book, and I guess the book goes this way. And we'll just kind of, I'm not going to flip through everything. Look at that. We have graffiti, words, pictures, more. There's essays in here with the different band members. Talk a little bit about what's going on, different people. So it really is mostly just essays and then what's on here. So really nice Lou Reed box set. Nice to see. Volume 1. Not sure what's coming up. I guess maybe Metal Machine Music will get his own. Then this was also, I saw this was on sale on Amazon too. Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, The Best of Everything from 76 to 2016. I used to have all Tom Petty. Now, once I hit the 90s, it was in CD, but otherwise I had all the albums. After he passed, those albums went skyrocket in price. It now doesn't make sense for me to try to go back and get Tom Petty's catalog. I like his hits. I like his hits a lot. So why not just buy a 4-album set of his hits? Simple, easy peasy, right? And it comes with, there we go, pictures of what the album covers really look like if you want to look at it. When Tom Petty first came out, my little brother bought his album. And it didn't, okay, no big deal. My little brother, I mentioned before, had really good taste in music, and I tended to, I'm not listening to that. I was into the B-52's Talking Head Devo. Petty was not the music I was listening to. Oh, that's that rock and roll. That's just kind of boring. But I learned. By the 80s, I was thinking, God, this guy's really good. By the time we hit Free Fall, I'm going, damn, that guy's really good. So this has a lot of the hits, but also there's alternative version of things, which, okay. I'm sure it's good. One previously unreleased song, no big deal for me, but it has Jamming Me on here. I always like that song. Wildflowers is on there, so just nice 4-album set, all the hits. That's what I need. There we go. 2.5 box sets, we're going to call this, of some great music. Of these, the Fela Kuti one, incredibly good, like the other volume I have. Lou Reed, though, it's a great documentation of what he was doing. Thanks for hanging out with me once again. Have yourself a great and very safe rest of the week. Bye.